Hello and welcome to another video in my LaTeX tutorial series. Today we're going to be talking about some common notation that you would see in calculus, such as limits, integrals, summations, and vector notation. I'm starting with a very basic setup. All LaTeX documents start with the command \document class, and I've set this one up to be 11 point and the type of document is an article. The only package I'll be using for this tutorial is the geometry package, and that is simply to adjust the size of my margins, so that is optional. You don't have to use that. The body of our document will type in between the commands /begin document and /end document. I'm going to begin by identifying the domain and range of a function. Function, and now I want to enter math mode, so I type my $sign, f of x equals, and in parentheses I want x minus 3 squared, so I raise that to the power 2, plus 1/2, \frac, and TeXmaker is going to fill in the rest of the command when I hit enter. And I can tab to get to the next part and move my cursor outside of the braces. And let's go ahead and compile this and make sure it looks the way we expect. Remember, when you open a new document, you must save it and give it a name before you try and compile it, or you will get a compiling error. Now, I usually hit F1 as a keyboard shortcut to compile my document, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'll probably move my cursor up here and build it by pressing the arrow. That looks good. We have the function f of x equals the quantity x minus 3 squared plus 1/2. So I'm going to continue typing. Has domain. And now to describe the domain, I want to name it with capital D, and I'm going to go into math mode. I want a subscript of f, because it's the domain of function f, colon, and the domain for this function is all real numbers. Now, we do have the option of using the symbol for all real numbers, but I'm going to use interval notation. So our domain goes from, it's an open interval, so parentheses, -infinity. Negative, we're just typing the minus key on the calculator. For the infinity, it's \infty. That's -infinity, comma, and now I want positive infinity, or just infinity, so \infty. Close my parentheses, and let's end math mode and compile that, see what it looks like. Okay, now the one thing I would like to change is the D. I don't want it to be italicized. Because it's in math mode, letters are always going to be italicized. But I can make that not in italics if I come back to my code and I basically wrap it with the tag mathrm. So move your cursor in front of the D, \mathrm, and then the curly brackets around the D. Now when we compile it, our D should not be italicized. But the F still is, because it's outside of those curly brackets. So let's finish by describing the range. So the function f of x has domain from -infinity to infinity, and range, so I'm going to do something very similar here. I'm going to use a capital R for the range. So I'm going to go into math mode, but I don't want the R to be in italics, so \mathrm, and in TeXmaker you can see it's trying to complete the command for me. So if I hit enter, it'll type the braces for me, and I can just type my R in the center there, and use the right arrow to come out of the braces. We want the subscript of F, colon, and now our range goes from 1/2 to infinity, and I do want to include the 1/2, so I'm going to use a square bracket around the 1/2. To get the 1/2, I'm using the command for a fraction, comma, infinity. So backslash infty, open parentheses, close math mode. Now let's typeset that, and I have a feeling I'm not going to be happy with the way it looks. Let's try. Okay, so what I'm not happy about